This next boundary we have is going to be continental versus continental. It's convergent, so we have these two big, fat, heavy semi-truck plates coming together, and then they're going to crash together. And so when we draw this, first thing we're going to have is we have to draw our continents. Are they going to be thick or are they going to be thin? Well, they're going to be thick because they're old. And so we have this big, thick continental crust. Hook in this direction. And then out here we have another continental crust. In between them is an ocean or sea. So the type of crust would be oceanic, which is thin. Continental, once again, has got a density of 2.8. My oceanic is going to be 3.2, and then they're being pushed by the asthenosphere having a convection current. The asthenosphere, once again, is going to be 4.5. Because the asthenosphere is really, really dense, nothing can go underneath it. So we're not going to get anything being pulled down. Throughout time, these two pieces get closer and closer and closer. So you think, well, what's going to happen to that little bit of oceanic crust that's in the middle of it? Well, if you had like, I don't know, a piece of metal in between two trucks and they were pushing up against, that metal would actually ripple and rip and would fold up. So it would look like this. Okay, so my continent here has now, they come closer, and as they've done that, this oceanic crust has rippled, and as it's rippled, it's made little teeny little islands that are now forming in those little ripples. If you look off the coast of the Balkans, like looking off of Croatia, that whole area there is being truncated, and as it's being truncated, you're starting to see those little bits of land being formed as it's coming up. And so you get these squeezed together. Well, over time what will happen is it'll squish even more. And then the question is, well, what does that look like? And it looks like this. So now what has happened is the two continents have smushed together. They've actually joined together, they sutured together. And that little bit of oceanic rock is now squished in between them. One of them, because it's going to be slightly denser, is going to be forced under. It doesn't want to go under though, because it's not dense enough. It's only at 2.3, 2.8. It's only 2.8, and it's going into 4.5 stuff. It doesn't want to be down there. And it's going to force all this stuff kind of coming up as it gets up there. And then we got one more to show what happens. So now what has happened is my continents have smushed together. They're colliding. One continent is sliding underneath the other, and as it's doing this, it's raising it up. It's raising the other one up a little bit, and then the two are crashing together, and as it does that, it just basically shoots them up as a big like car crash or truck crash. This would be the Himalayan mountains, and so the Himalayan mountains is going to have India, which is currently crashing into Asia. It's still moving pretty quickly, and it's still crashing in. And so since it's still crashing, the Himalayan mountains are still being forced up. The Himalayan Mount Everest and such is getting taller. It is being pushed up as it does this. Behind that we have Tibet. So if you look at Tibet, it's a plateau, a high plateau. And the reason being is because the Indian subcontinent is going underneath Asia and is literally physically pushing it up as it does that. Up high in the Himalayas, you have this old oceanic rock. And this kind of threw people for a while, because when they were first starting doing geology and they were looking at this type of rock here is full of like fossils of fish. And so you're at 12,000 feet or so, and you're finding rocks with basically marine life in it. That's just kind of weird. This kind of got people thinking, well, what's kind of going on here? This doesn't make a lot of sense. Why you would have good old continental material, and then you've got fish fossils, and then you're back down to continental material. It kind of threw people for a while until the whole plate tectonic thing occurred, our understanding of that, and it made sense from there. All right, we'll see you in the next one.